Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Durlabhamanusha deho dehinam shana bhangurai. Tatrapi durlabham manye vaikuntha priya darshanaham. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Namaha Pankaja Nabhaya Namaha Pankaja Maline Namaha Pankaja Netraya Namaste Pankajangriye Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Śrī Caitanya Ishwaram. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyo vachapatana pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you so much, dear worshipful devotees, for joining, taking out your valuable time on Sunday morning, the day of Dwadashi, which is also the disappearance day of three great acharyas, namely Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, and Sri Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. So we are, what could be more fortune than to read Bhagavatam on the holy Dwadashi day, on the disappearance day of these three great acharyas. And Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. So reading Bhagavatam is our life and soul. Madayeka Bandhu is our only friend. So let's begin from chapter number 21 of Canto 9, the Dynasty of Maharaj Bharata. So there's a quick summary here. We can do that and then we'll go to the verses. The 21st chapter describes the dynasty born from Maharaj Bharata, the son of Maharaj Dushmanta. And it also describes the glories of Rantidev, Aja, Midha, and others. The son of Bharadwaj was Manyu, and Manyu's sons were Brihatkashtra, Jaya, Mahavirya, Nara, and Garga. Of these five, Nara had a son named Sankriti, who had two sons named Guru and Rantidev. As an exalted devotee, Rantidev saw every living entity in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he completely engaged his mind, his words, and his very self in the service of the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Rantidev was so exalted that he would sometimes give away his own food in charity, and he and his family would fast. Once after, Rantidev spent 48 days fasting, not even drinking water. Excellent food made with ghee was brought to him. But when he was about to eat it, a Brahmana guest appeared. Rantidev therefore did not eat the food, but instead immediately offered a portion of it to the Brahmana. When the Brahmana left and Rantidev was just about to eat the remnants of the food, a Shudra appeared. Rantidev therefore divided the remnants between the Shudra and himself. Again, when he was just about to eat the remnants of the food, another guest appeared. Rantidev therefore gave the rest of the food to the new guest and was about to content himself with drinking the water to quench his thirst. But this was also precluded, for a thirsty guest came and Rantidev gave him the water. This was all ordained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead just to glorify his devotee and show how tolerant a devotee is in rendering service to the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being extremely pleased with Rantidev, entrusted him very confidential service. The special power to render the most confidential service is entrusted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to a pure devotee, not to ordinary devotees. Garga, the son of Bharadwaj, had a son named Shini, and Shini's son was Gargya. Although Gargya was a Kshatriya by birth, and his sons became Brahmanas. The son of Mahavirya was Duritaksha, whose sons were Trayayaruni, Kavi, and Pushkararuni. Although these three sons were born of a Kshatriya king, they also achieved the position of Brahmanas. The sons of Dhritakshtra constructed the city of Hastinapur and was known as Hasti. His sons were Ajamedha, Dvimedha, and Purumedha. From Ajamedha came Priyamedha and other Brahmanas, and also a son named Brihadishu. Sons, grandsons, and further descendants of Brihadishu were Brihadanu, Brihatakya, Jayadratha, Vishada, and Senjita. From Senjita came four sons, Ruchirashva, Dridhanu, Shaya, and Vatsa. From Ruchirashva came a son named Para, whose sons were Prithushena and Nipa. And from Nipa came 100 sons. Another son of Nipa was Brahmadatta. From Brahmadatta came Vishwaksena. From Vishwaksena, Udakeshena, and from Udashena, Bhallata. The son of Dvimedha was Yavinara, and from Yavinara came many sons and grandsons, such as Kirtiman, Satyadhriti, Dridhenmi, Suparshva, Sumati, Sannatiman, Kriti, Nipa, Udgrayudha, Shemya, Suvira, Ripunjaya, and Bahuratha. Purumeda had no sons, but Ajamedha, in addition to his other sons, had a son named Nila, whose son was Shanti. The descendants of Shanti were Shushanti, Puruja, Arka, Bharmyasva. Bharmyasva had 5 sons, one of whom, Mudgala, begot the dynasty of Brahmanas. Mudgala had twins, a son, Devodasha, and a daughter, Ahalya. From Ahalya, by her husband Gautama, Satananda was born. The son of Shatananda was Satyadhriti, and his son was Sharadvan. Sharadvan's son was known as Kripa, and Sharadvan's daughter was known as Kripi, who became the wife of Dronacharya. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, thank you again, my dear friends, Vaishnavas, for joining. So we are at 21st chapter, the dynasty of Bharata, which is primarily the Bharadwaj. We read about Bharadwaj in the previous verse. So, a lot of names are there which we will be studying, but the essence of this story is Rantidev, tolerance, austerity. So many wonderful qualities are shared of the great king Rantidev. Just think about 48 days hunger, fasting for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. And then the food is ready, and then someone comes and, okay, you can take my food. Then whatever was left, that was also given. Just water was left, and that was also given. So in life, Krishna may sometimes take severe tests. I was just talking to one devotee who's a lot of tests Krishna taking, but those tests just help us to be more stronger in our Krishna consciousness if we have the right spirits, if we have the right mindset. One can complain, Rantidev had all reason to complain, right? Why me? Why I'm fasting for so many days? Why me? But he did not complain. Tolerant, as Lord Brahma says. It's that famous verse. Forgetting that one must tolerate Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, chapter 14. Thank you, bro. Tatte-nukampam susamikṣamāna bhunjāni vatma kritam vipākam ridvāgvapurбhir vidadhan namaste jivitya mukti pade sadaya bhav. That in the reversals, in difficult times, if one continues to tolerate without complaining, without criticism, without judging, without blaming others, and with heart, mind, and words, with vag and vapu, with body, mind, words, and with heart, continues to render service to the Supreme Lord, then such a person is rightful recipient in the kingdom of God. Like a child is a rightful recipient, a good child is a rightful recipient of the inheritance of the parents. So a lot of lessons will come. This was just a quick summary. So let's dive into this wonderful chapter from text number 1 and see what Srila Prabhupada this chapter is teaching us here. So we'll start with text 1. Anyone would like to start?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Hare Krishna, devotees, Dandat Pranam. All praise to Srila Prabhupada. Text number 1. Shri Sukha Uvacha Vitasya Sutan Manyor Bhrat Srutro Jayastata Mahaviryo Naro Ga Sankrististu Naratmaja. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sukadeva Goswami said, because Bharadwaja was delivered by the Marad demigods, he was known as Vidhata. The son of Vidhata was Manyu, and from Manyu came 5 sons: Bharat, Satra, Jaya, Mahavirya, Nara, and Garga. Of these 5, the one known as Nara had a son named Sankriti. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. So, quite straightforward. Bharadwaj, son, or who is also known as Vitatha, was Manyu, and Manyu's 5 sons are named here. Let's see the next verse, text number 2. Lakshay, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Guruscha Raniti Devascha Sankrite Pandu Nandana Ranti Devasya Mahima Iha Mutra Cha Giyate. Translation: O Maharaj Parikshit, descendant of Pandu, Sankriti had two sons named Guru and Rantideva. Rantideva is famous in both this world and the next, for he is glorified not only in human society but also in the society of the demigods. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. So here we see it's a nice observation or reflection that a lot of names are there, but when the name of a great personality comes, all of these are great, of course, but some are really kind of extraordinary, and we'll read. So a lot of names, like in the previous verse, 5-6 names were there. In this verse also 3-4 names are there. But talking about Rantidev, there is special mention. And now Shukdev Goswami is going to elaborate about that what was that quality for which he was glorified in not only in this world, but also in the upper planets of the demigods. So it's a great lesson that it's one's qualities, the spiritual substance, the character which makes one glorious, not the other things or the lineage. Yes, they are all great, but Rantidev is especially great. So let's hear about the great Rantidev from text 3 onwards. Yes, Prabir Prabhu, want to?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhu, Hare Kṛṣṇa devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Śrīla Prabhupada. Text 9, text 21, 3-5. Diyadvittasya dadato labdham bhubukshata niskinchanasya dhirasya shakutambasya siddhata Vyatyor asta chadvarinshad ahani api bata kila grita payasya samya ram tayam pratar upastitam krichra prapta kutumbasya shutri biyam jata vipatha otithir brahmana kale bhoktu kamasya chagamat. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation: Rantidev never endeavored to earn anything. He would enjoy whatever he got by the arrangement of providence. But when guests came, he would give them everything. Thus he underwent considerable suffering, along with the members of his family. Indeed, he and his family members shivered for want of food and water. Yet Rantidev always remained sober. Once, after fasting for 48 days, in the morning Rantidev received some water and some foodstuffs made with milk and ghee. But when he and his family were about to eat, a Brahmana guest arrived. So here we are seeing that glorification of Rantidev's tolerance. He never endeavored to earn anything. Whatever he was getting, he's thinking about because arrangement of providence. But when someone comes, he will give it to them. So in that context, I was just thinking, in Caitanya-caritāmṛta and Mahaprabhu's Shikshashtakam, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was explaining. I'm going to just read that Bengali part. After saying that Tinadupi Shunichana Tararopi Shoishtuna Amanina Manodena Kittoniya Sadahari. After that, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was saying, Uttam hoiya bhakt hoibe nirobhiman. Uttam hoiya apnake mane tinadam, dui prakare shoishnuta kore brikkhasam. Mahaprabhu was saying that dui prakare, in two ways, like a tree, they will tolerance. Dui prakare shoishnuta kore brikkhasam. Brikho jano katileo kichu na boloi. If one cut the trees, the tree doesn't say anything. Brikho jano katileo kichu na boloi, shukhaya moile kare pani na magoi. The tree may get dry, but they will not ask any water from anything. Shukhaya moile kare pani na magoi. Je je magoye tare dai apon dhan. But whoever comes and asks anything, the tree will give its own wealth. What is the own wealth? Like, they will give the shade. You don't need to ask. You just go in underneath the tree. You will get the shade. You can take the fruits, flowers, everything from the even most of the time. We don't take permission from the tree also. So Mahaprabhu was saying, "Jai jai magoye tare de apandon gharma brishti shohe aner koroye rakshan." Even if it is hot, if it is rain, whoever takes shelter, they will give shelter to that person. So Mahaprabhu says, so I was just thinking that Rantidev's tolerance is like that. He doesn't expect from anything, whatever he gets, but whenever someone comes, he gives everything to that person. Hare Krishna Prabhu, back to you. Please, Eric.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for sharing those wonderful nectarian verses of Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, especially on his Tirabhav Divas. Very nice example of the tree. So the first line here says, Viyad Vittastad Dadato. The whole world is endeavoring more, better job, better this, better car, better home, better facilities. But the great King Rantidev is showing that whatever has been destined for me and my family, it will come. Of course, we cannot artificially imitate it, and neither it is recommended, but we can at least appreciate and glorify the spirits, and at least be grateful and happy and satisfied with our dutiful endeavor. Because it is one of the principles by Srila Rupa Goswami, Atyahara Prayasascha, to not over endeavor at least. Rantidev never endeavored to earn anything. That's like complete dependence on God. We cannot imitate it. He never endeavored. There are multiple other such, even like in Srivas Angan, right? He would say like, Srivas, what if the whole day busy chanting, hearing bhajan, kirtan? What if you don't have anything? What if your family is hungry and what not? He just clapped 3 times. Lord Chaitanya said, "What is that? What does that mean?" He said, if ever that day happens, I clap 3 times and somehow by the arrangement of the Lord, something will come. So that means, look at the faith of that devotee. At least we can appreciate how much faith and love and surrender that person has towards the Lord. That Krishna Bhakti Koila Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. If one does Krishna Bhakti, everything will fall in place. The only thing I'm lacking, is that surrender to the Supreme Lord, that the Lord will provide. The Lord, an ant doesn't go in hunger, and the elephants who eats in huge quintals or a lot every day, they also don't go hungry. So at least we can try to strengthen our faith here. And whatever he had, anyone who would come, he would give them everything. He would give them everything. Some of you may have seen this movie of Tukaram. Tukaram also was in this category pretty much. If any time, like one time, there's a multiple pastimes which exhibit this quality that he was poor. He was very poor. Like Sudama Vipra also very poor. So many great brahmanas, great devotees were extreme poverty. Even Sridhar Kolavicha, extreme poverty. But they were happy. But they were grateful to the Lord. They had the biggest wealth. As we were reading in the previous chapter, the greatest achievement in life is to achieve the lotus feet of Lord. That's the biggest achievement. And if one has that, then rest everything is not in material world. Job, business, money seems to be the greatest achievement. But in spiritual life, it is not. The barometer of spiritual success is not how much money one is earning, how big one's house is. The barometer of spiritual success is how close one is to Krishna's lotus feet, how much attachment in the heart one has towards Krishna's lotus feet, towards devotees, towards Harinam, towards Seva, etc. Nishkinchana asya dhirasya. Nishkinchana is referred here as always penniless. Practically, he had nothing, no wealth. But yet he was dhira. Dhiras tatra namoyati. Dhira means he was sober. He was not bewildered. When reversals come in most people's life, either financial crisis, so many people lose their jobs or get some losses in their business. They go in depression. They go in commit suicides. Their family life gets disturbed and whatnot. A lot of reversals come. Some go through some other reversals. But Bhagavatam is teaching that these great souls are teaching that ups and downs are coming in the lives of these great people, personalities like Ranti Dev. They are named in the Bhagavatam. They are such great king, the dynasty of Maharaj Bharat and Bharadwaj, Yayati, Puru, the moon dynasty. So who are we? Who are we? In the previous chapter, we read about, the Brihaspati was allured by the allurements of opposite sex. So who are we? So the point is that this ups and downs will come. One time one could be in palace, one time one could be in jhopadi or a hut. One time one could have good health, another bad health. Wealth, poverty, these dualities will come, and they have to come in this material world, because this material world is ashashvatam. But when we have the shelter of Bhagavatam, when we have the inspiration of these great souls, then we can also be dhira, tam stitikshva svabhavata, to be tolerant in heat and cold, ups and downs. So he was very tolerant, remained sober. His family members shivered for want of food and water. You can imagine, the kids, they did not have anything. Same Tukaram I was mentioning. Tukaram also, one time Maharaj Chhatrapati Shivaji gave him a lot of wealth, grains, everything, because they did not have grains in the home to eat. What to speak of anything else. So one time Tukaram Maharaj was really, he sent his soldiers to test, is it really a great soul? Or so they gave him a lot of gold, jewels, this, that, grains, everything. And the wife was very happy, kids were very happy, and very nice, like a festival for them. But when Tukaram Maharaj came, he said, no, sorry, I can't accept all this. And he basically returned all that. On another instance, Lord Vithala personally came. He was guarding someone's fields. They were trying to trick him. They were trying to trick him. They let the cows or let the animals spoil the field so that they were people envious of Tukaram. And Tukaram will not get any wage. What to speak of getting the wage? If the fields are spoiled, he will have to pay further kind of, money or some form of wealth to compensate for the losses for that person. So what happened? So said Tukaram said, okay, that's my mistake. Sorry, I was not paying much attention. Somehow the animals spoiled all the field. I will do all the losses. So, and then they were measuring. I said, okay, if let's say, I'm just giving an example. If the yield was supposed to be 1,000 kilograms or 1,000 pounds, what the average annual yield is 1,000 kilograms. Whatever is less, you will have to compensate because it is because of your negligence this is happening. Tukaram said, okay, I'm sorry. And because the animals were let loose by the other people who were envious of him, so that he has to suffer more. So now Tukaram, so the measurement was going on. There was no way it could be 1,000 kilograms because it was, practically majority of the fields were damaged by the animals. But then they were weighing, and Lord Vitthal personally came, and there's a nice in the video, in the picture, we see that the grains pouring from the hand of Lord Vithala, and it was not 1,000 kilograms, it was 10 times that. It was supposed to be near 100 or 200 kilograms. It was 10 times of the average annual yield. And everyone was amazed. How can that be possible? By logic, it's not possible because it's transcendental. So, and then guess what? The landowner was honest. He said, well, I will only take 1,000 kilograms because that's my share. Rest all is your share. So all the 9 times of the annual yield, he brought it home. Whose home? Tukaram's home. Now Tukaram said, well, sorry, what will I do? I don't need that much. The wife was happy, the kids were happy, everyone was happy, but Tukaram said, what will I do? He kind of started distributing to the Brahmanas, to the poor people, and everyone. And guess what? The last person came. And his wife was, grinding the flour because they had not eaten. So practically everyone took everything. Some take small bags, big bags. All that 9 times the annual yield was gone by people coming and taking. So charitable. He gave everything actually. Little bit the wife was using to make the chapatis and whatever for that day. And then finally a poor Brahmana came and how could a guest go empty-handed from the home of such a charitable person, such a devotee of God? So he collected those atta, this flour, and he gave it to that person. Back to square, but complete joy. So amazing, extraordinary examples here. 48 days fasting, 48 days fasting, and looks like fasting here was without water or anything. So complete fast, yet sober. So really amazing. Let's see what happens further from text number 6. Would someone like to read? Swati, Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Kṛṣṇa, please.
Tasmai samvabhajat sonnam madrita shraddha shraddhayanvitaha harim swartha sampashyan sa bhuktava parayayo dvijaha. Translation. Because Rantideva perceived the presence of the Supreme Godhead everywhere and in every living entity. He received the guest with faith and respect and gave him a share of the food. The Brahmana guest ate his share and then went away. Purpose Srila Prabhupada ji द्वारा Srila Prabhupada की जय. Rantideva perceived the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in every living being, but he never thought that because the Supreme Lord is present in every living being must be God. Nor did he distinguish between one living being and another. He perceived the presence of the Lord both in the Brahmana and in the Chandal. This is the true vision of equality, as confirmed by Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita 5.18. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Suni Chaiva Savapake Cha Pandita Samdarshina. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater outcast. A Pandita or learned person perceives the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in every living being. Therefore, although it has now become fashionable to give preference to the so-called Daridra Narayana or poor Narayana, Rantideva had no reason to give preference to any one person. The idea that because Narayana is present in the heart of one who is Daridra or poor, the poor man should be called Daridra Narayana is a wrong conception. By such logic, because the Lord is present within the hearts of the dog and the hogs, the dogs and the hogs would also be Narayana. One should not mistakenly think that Rantideva subscribed to this view. Rather, he saw everyone as part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari Sambandhani Vastu Naha. It is not that everyone is the Supreme Godhead. Such a theory, which is propounded by Mayavad philosophy, is always misleading, and Rantideva would never have accepted it. Dandapanam.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Where are you joining from, Mataji?
Say again, Prabhuji.
Where are you joining from? In India?
India, Haryana.
Where in Haryana?
Bahadurgarh, near Delhi.
How you got to know about this group?
I was in the group, Prabhuji. I randomly joined.
Thank you so much for your association and reading.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving this opportunity. I try to join every day.
Thank you, Mataji. So here now we see that after 48 days of fasting, without food, without water, Rantidev and his family, they got something. Prabhupada mentions in the summary, they got some nice foodstuffs. Excellent food made with ghee was brought to him. That's mentioned in the summary we just read. So he was fasting. Now just think about, let's put ourselves in this story, in this pastime. What to speak of 48 days, even one day of Nirjala Ekadashi, if this is happening to us, how would we react? How would I react? That first let me fill myself, then I will be able to serve, or just by one day, forget about 48 days. But 48 days he was fasting, and looks like the family was also. And the first guest arrives. So four guests arrive one by one. So text number 6 talks about the first guest, and that's Brahmana. So Rantidev Rantidev, who seeing the presence of the Supreme Lord, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshya Arjuna Tishti, a self-realized soul, Vidya Vinay Sampanni, who has that vision that Krishna is there in each and every, animate and inanimate thing, then for him, the Supreme Lord is never lost. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, text 30, it is explained, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mam mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sa cha me na pranashyati. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost to him or her, and he is never lost to me. That means if we are always trying to think of the Supreme Lord through different ways and forms, that every living entity is basically a child of God. Prabhupada is now helping us understand that it does not mean some people say Daridra Narayan, poor Narayan. Narayana is not poor. He is the Aishwaryasya Samagrasya. He has all the opulences and complete. He is the source of all the Lakshmi. He is the Lakshmi Sahasrasta Sambrama Sevyamana. The unlimited wealth, unlimited opulence we cannot imagine. So everyone is actually in that way looking for Krishna consciousness. When Prabhupada came to United States people are materially opulent, but inside shallow. So this concept of Daridra Narayan, Prabhupada is not encouraging that. Rather, we should just try to see things, everything. Hari Sambandhini Vastunha. That means try to see everything in connection with the Supreme Lord. That whether one is poor or rich, the real, they're all poor in one way, because if one does not have Krishna consciousness, one is poor. But on the material hand, Rantidev was poor, but he was very rich. He was rich in his bhakti, in self-realization. So Sri Kolavicha Sridhar and Sridama Vipra, Sudama Vipra, etc. There were multiple people who were externally poor by so-called material calculation, but they were very exalted devotees. So the point is that he did not want the guest to go back. So the guest ate his share. Now the first guest is the Brahmana. So, and very important line, how should we receive the guests? Adaryat Shraddhanvitaha, with Adar and Shraddha. Adar means respect here. So in India or in Vedic culture, this is our culture, this is our root. The guest reception is one of the topics in the Vaishnava etiquette manual as well, how to receive guests. And here we see multiple times in the Bhagavatam how to receive guests. There is also one line where it says that when the guest comes to, when even the enemy, when the guest comes to the home of an enemy, the guest should not feel like I have come to the home of enemy. That means the guest should be given so much respect and with faith, right? So doing something is one thing, but it's not the externals which matter more. Someone could offer chappan bhoga without respect, without kind words. Where would we like to go? Okay, just for us, imagine you have been given an invitation to two places. One place, the person is poor, but has a very good heart, treats with respect. And you will get simple khichdi if you go there, and some water, and a straw man. But very kind words. He'll serve with a lot of respect, care, gratitude, humility. On the other hand, on other place, you may go to another very opulent home, but there is no one to even say kind words, and they treat you like a burden. Oh, look at the poor slog. He has come again to eat. every time he comes here so he can get good food, will you like to go there? You will never like to go there. Very simple. Even if it is served in gold plates. So similarly, treat Atmaman Manyate Jagat. We should treat others the way we would like to be treated. And the concept here is the guest should be treated with a lot of love, faith, and respect. Adar Yat, Adar Yata, Adritya, and Shraddhanvitaha. That's how Ranti Dev, in spite of 48 days, he did not lose his temper. It's easy to serve when things are going rosy and cozy. Oh, okay, now I have eaten a nice meal. Now I can go and easily serve. Right? That's also not bad. But it's not that difficult. Okay, I have eaten my share. Now I'll serve fully. But when someone is hungry and really hungry, 48 days of hunger, at that point, parting one's share, that certainly takes a great soul to do so. So the first guest was the Brahman. Anyone has any other comments? We won't be able to cover all the 4 guests today, but we'll continue this story tomorrow from text 7 and see who were the other guests and how Ranti Dev treated them as well. We can take some 1 or 2 comments or thoughts or questions anyone has on this topic. Anyone wants to add or say something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Yeah, Prabhuji, I think Rantidev is very exemplary. But for us, I think at least for me, it's not practical, Prabhuji. Because once we see, we don't even, think of others at that time. First, we want to, satisfy ourselves and then think about others. So, how should we practically, do Prabhuji in this age?
Thank you, Prabhu. You are very honest and sincere, and we are all in the same boat, so don't feel bad. Yes, it is. We cannot imitate. We cannot artificially imitate them. Otherwise, we'll fall down from our current state as well. But at least we can appreciate and be humble. So, for example, even if we do something for others, let's say guest reception or offering food, etc., these examples should bring us to ground. But who am I to do anything? Look at Rantidev. He is the one who is really doing something. In spite of not having anything for 48 days, he served with so much love. So this should help us to make us humble and grounded, because sometimes a conditioned soul like myself can feel proud. Oh, I helped in this way. Oh, I did this for the guest. Oh, I did that for the guest. Oh, I did this here. At the same time, yes, we cannot artificially imitate. We cannot, like we discussed, Rantidev was never endeavored. So if we artificially follow that, we will again fall down. So we have to do our dutiful endeavor. As Rupa Goswami says, so Prabhupada is mentioning in multiple purports, yes, dutiful endeavor, 8-9 hours of job in a balanced way, so we can do our dutiful endeavor. And after that, depend on Krishna. It's not that without endeavoring, we should not depend. As Krishna says, remember me and fight. We have to do our fighting, whatever our job, business, in the right spirit, with the right intention, and then depend on him. So we cannot artificially follow these Mahabhagavat examples, Rantidev or Rishabdev, etc. So, but yeah, at least the goal, the inspiration can be there, that they are so exemplary. Who am I to offer anything to the guests? And when sometimes if we don't get, let's say we are serving the guests and out of 3 meals, just an example, let's say you're serving in the temple, that's a festival, and the night time you're serving prasadam, let's say, and we have taken in the morning, in the afternoon. In one meal, if we don't get, let's say prasadam gets over, one meal if we don't get, it won't be the end of our body, right? If we don't get one meal, it maybe we'll feel a little hungry. Okay, I'll just manage with water. Okay, I'll take milk at home. That's fine. It's not the end of the, and then we can just appreciate again. Remember these examples, at least in our mind, that now we can appreciate what Rantidev must have done. If I don't get one meal after serving, I feel so agitated. How difficult it must be for Rantidev to be dhira, to be tolerant, to be equipoised for 48 days. And then we'll see the challenges. The challenges are not over. There were 4 guests came, one after the other. And that too also in the descending order of their spiritual upliftment. The Brahmana, the Shudra, the dog, and then the Chandal. So we'll see that tomorrow. Does that help? I don't know. I'm just speaking for myself because
Prabhuji, yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very helpful.
Prabhuji, I am also having one question. Prabhuji, this offering to the guest, so it applies to every kind of guest, or it is for the devotee community only? For in today's scenario.
Today's scenario, pretty much it applies to everyone. If you have relatives, you give them Krishna Prasad. If you have neighbors, you want to invite, host a program, you give them Krishna Prasad with a lot of respect and veneration and with faith. So basically, they will also become devotees. So in that way, they are also devotees in the pipeline, right? So in the present, they may not be, but we have to see them with that eyes. Hari Sambandha Vastinaha, that they are also children of God. And I am being so blessed and fortunate that I am getting this chance to serve the children of God. Wow, my master, my father, the Supreme Lord will be very happy. So let me do the same way I would serve the Supreme Lord. Atithi Devo Bhava, that's the really meaning, right? You're like a Devta, you come. Of course, easier said than done. But just think about if even a so-called non-devotee comes, let's say your relative, your neighbor, and then you give them nice prasad, which is offered to the Supreme Lord. Tell them about, Kartik is coming. Would you like to offer lamp together with a lot of respect and care? Won't they become devotees? They'll be inspired too. That, wow, this person is amazing. I have never been to a home who treated me with so much respect, and everyone treats me like a burden, right? So they will be inspired, and so yes, we should try. Of course, that does not mean that we, in today's days, we have to be careful also in the sense that we cannot call any person on the street and to come inside. We have to be cautious of that. Neither does that happen, but especially in US, that does not happen. It's like instead of Atithi Devo Bhava, it's like trespassers prosecuted or beware of dogs. So, but at least to the guests, to whom we know, friends, relatives, neighbors, we can invite them and serve them Krishna Prasad. And Manjulali added this point for the previous question that Rantidev was above the bodily platform. So until we get there so prematurely, if we try to imitate, then it will not be good. So yes, we have to try our best and keep trying, and then Krishna will arrange the rest. Does that help, Mataji?
Prabhuji, I lost it. I lost my connection. So now I've joined again. So sorry, I couldn't hear.
Okay, I think you heard till what point did you hear? So your question was yes for the Vaishnavas and for the others, your friends, relatives, neighbors. Yes, we should also serve them nicely with faith, with attention, with care, with respect, Krishna Prasadam, and then they will be inspired to, if they take prasad, the one who takes prasad, they are devotee. So that's actually even more glorious. That's actually outreach, that you're helping them connect to their eternal Father. You're helping them to get closer to the Supreme Lord. And I was reading a quote by Jonas Radhanath Swami Maharaj. There is no greater service in the world. There is no greater achievement in the world or the service in the world than to help even one person get closer to Krishna. So you are, in short, helping them to get closer to Krishna. So yes, we must serve. And based on the situations, based on their faith, you can discuss or not discuss directly Krishna consciousness. But prasadam, no one says no, because everyone eats something and everyone will be happy to eat prasadam or honor prasadam. And if they are ready and eager to hear, then you can tell about Damodar, offer lamp together, and take the next steps. But prasadam, everyone likes.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Any last comments before we pause for today? Okay, so I guess we will pause here and continue tomorrow with the next verse. So thank you so much, and let's pray so we can follow this. Easier to speak big things, but at least we keep it in our mind and heart and try to apply whatever best we can in the situation. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana ki jai, Shri Ranti Dev ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Panchakalpatarubhyascha Asandhavya Vacha Patitanam Pavanam. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.